Hi Soumya.
Hi.
I recently was watching the news and been lately reading about a lot of stress levels that executives are facing, entrepreneurs are facing,
Okay.
and we've also seen the trend that people having breakdowns and they take whatever step they just take. And is this something that is going wrong with the society right now? Is it something that they kind of are unable to manage, or is stress something that somebody can manage on his own?
Okay. Um, the most important thing to understand, Harvinder, is that stress is related to our emotions. Okay. When we're not able to resolve our emotions, is when stress reaches a certain level. Earlier we were talking about my stress video, the video on decoding stress, where I've talked more about it in detail. But simply put, stress is the inability to resolve our emotions and our thoughts. Okay. Now, if we were to specifically look at the corporate environment, which that you referred to, as an environment, it is stressful. It is a high stress environment. It also means that everything is being seen, everything is being measured, and at the end of the year, or even on a biannual basis, what you get is dependent on what somebody else perceives as what you have done. Now, imagine being under that sort of a spotlight all the time. It is also an unnatural environment. People tend to lose their sense of self when they get into a corporate job. I myself have a corporate background, and I have experienced that for myself too. That there's an entire personality that I noticed I had started to put on just to fit in, and that is not who I was. When you're not connected with who you are authentically, that further leads to stressful levels. How many people drink because it is socially expected for you to drink in a corporate
Correct.
party? How many people behave in a certain way, wear a certain brand because you're expected to do that, but that's not who you are naturally.
But that brings me to a point where I'm into the business of personal branding, and when I go and attend a lot of these conferences, seminars, where you have a lot of these successful people who are coming and talking of passion, etc. And one of the things that I've noticed people talking of is that as a startup, you obviously don't face success in the beginning. It's not that you begin with the success. So, and I've heard people saying that fake it till you make it, and that puts in a lot of stress on a person's mind to behave something which is very unnatural to that person.
So how long can you fake it till you make it?
That's my question. These kind of stress are something which I'm seeing recently coming in, where people not being authentic with themselves, right? And because of this, there's a lot of pressures, because I've seen a lot of these startups happening today which are being founded by people who've been in the corporate world.
Yes.
And their reason of moving into the entrepreneurial environment is that it is less stressful. I don't have to work under a boss, and I will not have a 9 to 5 job kind of a thing. And these are very the expectations which are very different from a reality. How does one manage these kind of stress which they are not prepared for? These come as a total surprise to them. And entrepreneurship is not easy.
You know what? You actually gave the answers to yourself. You're not prepared for. There is an uncertainty. You don't know how to handle it. So there, at least my enemy, or quote unquote, the enemy is known, my boss.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like working for my boss, and therefore let me start my own venture. If that is the reason to have started the venture, then that is probably not the most fruitful of reasons to have. If I'm driven by passion, or if I have an idea that is the reason why I start my entrepreneurial venture, then no matter the stress, no matter the uncertainty, and uncertainty does add to stress, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, or at least I don't know how much investment I need to make before this product goes where I want it to go. In a corporate, I know that whatever I do at the end of the month or the first of the month, I'm going to get a certain salary, whether it is a measly salary or a lot. There is a certain certainty attached, at least to that point. In entrepreneurship, you're driven by an idea, you're driven by a certain passion, usually. At the same time, there's a lot of uncertainty. So that also adds to the stress. That also adds to the entire idea of what will happen. Okay, and therefore entrepreneurial stress is very real, and it's a journey that nobody else has taken. So if I talk about my venture, I know that I was the only one who knew what I wanted, and I could have translated it into some terms that somebody understands. But really, that journey is a very lonely journey. So unless one is handling one's own stress, one is handling one's own emotions around it, it is a stressful journey. And what you were saying earlier, fake it till you make it only gets you so far, because ultimately you can't fake it. There is going to be a moment when that faking stops.
Correct.
And that is when it comes crashing down, and that's where we see a lot of people today taking extreme steps.
Yep.
And it's not to say that they're weak. In that moment, that feels to be the only choice.
How important is a family when it comes to people who are, taking on this entrepreneurial journey? It's stressful at work, it's stressful when you're dealing with customers, payments aren't coming in, you're not able to raise capital. And obviously as a corporate person, when he's moving into, he's used to a certain salary, as you mentioned, and suddenly he's in a different other side of the table where he's expected to pay. So first of month, every month, your role changes.
Absolutely.
From being a receiver to being a giver.
Yes.
And when you're not making money and you're also expected to run the house, how does one manage the family, and what is the role that a family can play in your life as an entrepreneur?
So there's several questions within this one, and let me address them individually. Family has one role, which is of being a support system. At the beginning of an entrepreneurial venture, it is very important to have a support system. And it's not just about entrepreneurship, it's about anything. Anywhere in life, whether you have a corporate job, whether you're not working, whether you're a student, whether you're an entrepreneur specifically, it's so important to have a support system which helps you deal with stress in a much better way. Today, our families are more nuclear and all of us are busy. Sociologists and psychologists have found a direct link between that with the levels of stress, because there was a certain sharing that would happen irrespective in say a joint setup. It's not to say one is right or one is wrong. Now the support systems are changing. Families, if supportive, are a great support system for the entrepreneurs. At the same time, it's not always that that's the support system. So it's very important to find out where is the support system and have one. If you don't have one, create one. Join some networking groups, join some organizations, join maybe even a meditation circle or something, or a yoga group or a gym. A lot of reasons, if nothing else, that actually leads to having a support system.
Yep.
And that's one. The second point that you said, that suddenly moving from the receiver role to a giver role. Yes, absolutely, it is stressful. It helps to actually prepare your family for it. It helps to prepare them for the fact that here, till the last of this month, I was getting a salary and this is how we were running. And because I'm driven by this passion and by this idea, and now this is what I'm choosing for my life, for a few months maybe the salary will not be coming the same way, and there will be changes. And like any other change, any other transition, it comes with its own settling and adjusting. And it's important that the other person is prepared for it. Then they are not as stressed about it either. When you are prepared, when you're expecting something to happen, then it allows for them to be relaxed and it allows for you to be relaxed.
Correct.
And then you're able to think of more choices as to how to support yourself in that moment.
Right. I in fact also feel that it is very important for anybody who's getting into an entrepreneurship because it's a very lonely space, because I've moved from a corporate role to a entrepreneurial role, moving from somewhere a team of having 100 people team or in a company which is like a 10,000 people company to moving into an environment where you are the only you're the only person in the office. So it's a very lonely space. And what actually helped me when I took on to this journey was to identify what is it that I'm passionate about other than my work.
Absolutely.
To identify a hobby. Most of us, I realize, we don't even know what our hobby is. We don't even realize what our strengths are, what our passions are. So I personally feel that having some kind of a hobby or taking on to a sport which is a stress buster that really plays a very, very important role.
Sure, I agree. At the same time, everybody has a different stress master. So yes, having an awareness of what works for you to actually help you relieve stress and hopefully a healthy habit is very important. A lot of people turn to drinking so that they relieve stress, and while it may be a social venture, it's not the healthiest of habits. So yes, a sport is good if that works for you, or any other way, but it's very important to know what you can do to manage your stress. And I would again emphasize stress has an emotional basis to it. So managing your emotions is very, very important. Something that you said, to balance time or in the free time, go out for it. I have actually had a lot of entrepreneurs who have come to me and their entire the entire coaching has been around them not being able to manage time and them not being able to take out time for themselves because they're so passionate about the idea that they forget that they have a family, they forget that they have a social circle, or they're so busy trying to make up for that salary that they used to get that they don't spend that time. But it's very, very important to draw that boundary. It's very important to keep yourself in the picture while following that passion.
Right. This brings me to two questions.
Okay.
One is, you said, you're trying to keep up with the money that you are making in the corporate world, and obviously it's very difficult to start off a venture trying to match that money. And what I find, that is the root cause of most things that we are reading about, people succumbing to that pressure, breaking down, they burn out. How does one manage the money pressure, and how important is this compared to the satisfying journey of trying to do what you're passionate about otherwise?
Let me, when I find the answer to that fully, I'll also tell you about it. Okay, so what I have found in my journey, I'll share that with you. I don't know if it will satisfy the curiosity though. I find that money, while one might be getting a lot of money, if it's not leading to happiness, that money only takes you so far. Okay, and money helps you buy things or invest in things that may be making you happy, but the happiness is an internal thing, is an internal state. So for me personally, investing in my own self, investing in my happiness, investing in my emotional wellness was most important.
Okay.
And when I did that, the rest of the things started to flow. Because then my interactions with my clients were not so much about how much money will I make out of it, and therefore will I make rent, or therefore will I be able to buy XYZ or do whatever. It was about the passion for the work, and the rest flew. And the clients also got that passion, and that's why they flowed.
Right.
We tend to think it's the money that leads to happiness. Actually, that's not the case. It is the happiness that leads to money. If you are happy, and it's not to say that if you don't have food to eat, how will you be happy? At the same time, a certain amount of money, when your basic needs are being met, and you being invested in your happiness, you're actually focusing on your emotional wellness, happiness naturally flows, and therefore your money flows naturally increase. I found that repeatedly in every person that I worked with.
How do you handle failures? Because it's not about your business failing at the end of the day. You experience failures on day-to-day basis. Could be certain task level failures. There could be setbacks in terms of your contract not materializing, or you've done the work and your money doesn't come in. How does one handle failure?
So what's very interesting, if you notice in what you said, was there were some very, very different categories of or situations, all of which you labeled failure. And that's the biggest thing. Not everything of that is failure. And how do you define failure?
Correct.
What do you define as failure?
Right.
Is it really a failure in the larger context of things? So I think the simplest way to handle failure is to put it in a context.
Okay.
And accept that this instant happened. But to define that, or define myself, or to define my business as a failure, is taking it out of context. So for example, a client might call me and may not turn up. Or like you said, that there is a contract that does not materialize. Fine. That is a contract that did not materialize. At what level do I decide that makes me a failure? Now these are internal belief systems that actually unconsciously end up sabotaging me. because
Okay.
that leads to the stress that we're talking about otherwise, right? And when that stress, when an instance it gets taken out of context and generalized to the entire personality or the entire life or the entire business, is when the stress levels are increasing. That's when it becomes a loop that I'm not able to solve, and therefore all the other stuff that follows.
I recently also, learned about two of my close friends passing away
Okay.
because of whatever stress levels, and these people were very, very healthy people. They were very young. I mean, they were just about 42 or 45 years of age, and they had a heart attack. And these are people who would play squash every day for an hour. They were really, really healthy, and that's when I became little conscious about the fact that, while we are looking at health only from the physical aspect of our body, we are not taking care of our mental health.
Absolutely.
So, is there something that you feel that every entrepreneur should do, or something like a meditation or something? Does it really help?
Okay. My question to you regarding your friends would have been, what was their emotional state like?
I really don't know, because they never communicated with anyone.
Exactly, there's
Yeah.
an answer. Most of the times, as you were saying even earlier, entrepreneurship is a lonely journey.
Right.
For that matter, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, you could be in a corporate job, you could be in any other job. How many of us actually share what's going on in our lives? How many of us talk about it?
True.
We might say we have 2,000 friends on Facebook, but are they friends that we can count upon when in
Yep.
time of need? Can we talk to them? Yes, today in the industry there's a lot of focus on the physical health, and that's amazing, that's required. At the same time, we're forgetting some very, very basic things. Stress is emotional. Stress is not always physical. So I could be very active physically, but if I don't take care of my emotional health, it is affecting my physical health. As we talked about it in the Decoding Stress video, when in stress, the hormonal system shuts down, the digestive system gets affected, the blood is taken away from the vital organs and only goes into the muscles. And all these things that you're talking about today, the illnesses that we're seeing, whether it is in terms of thyroid, hypertension, diabetes, whether it is in terms of women with PCOS, or it is in terms of sudden heart attacks, or even allergies, they're all stress related. So half the times doctor end up saying stress related hai, meditation kar lijiye. But meditation is a solution, it is not the solution. Because unless you resolve what is running at the core, meditation is like putting a band-aid on a wound that actually needs to be cleaned, right? If I'm under a lot of stress, yes, a daily practice of meditation in general will help me. That's like taking vitamins. It's good to do that every day. Having said that, it is also important to clean any physical wounds that are there and apply an antibiotic ointment to it so that it does not fester. Emotional wellness is just like that. It is very important to address the deeper patterns that are running.
Okay. Now, I think it was a lovely conversation, because this is something which has been really, when I go and meet people, the conversation at parties, over drinks, or generally at a conference, I'm really finding that stress levels is something which everybody is concerned about, and rightfully so. So it was lovely to get your point of view.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.